because then it's just a conversation with me and myself. So, and you guys watching. So, welcome to the Convert with Confidence group. This is the group for hypnotists and holistic healers who are ready to scale their business. And maybe you're wanting to go full time, but you're not quite making a full time income. And for those of you who are tuning in, who do we have here on the line? So go ahead, drop your name and drop what you do below. Like, let us know who's here. Let us know what you do, how do you help people? Go ahead, drop it in, and then let's all say hi here. So tune in, guys, as you're tuning in. Just go ahead and let us know who's here. And let's see who we have here on the line. What's your background? Are you a healer? How do you help people? What do you do? What's your modality? So just go ahead and drop it in the chat below as we go. So today we're going to talk about irresistible and compelling. And what makes an offer so attractive that it becomes a no-brainer? Because, you know, as healers, oftentimes we're taught to help people with, like, you know, how we're marketed to, right? Like, you might take a training on anxiety or weight loss or confidence building, or you might be working with like athletes, right? And you tend to use the same language that maybe your customer and client is using, right? So if they're coming to you for anxiety, you're going to say, great, I can help you with anxiety, right? And as you guys are tuning in, just go ahead and let us know who's here in the comments. Let us know who's here in the chats. And let us know what you do. You know, who do we have here on the line? Who's sitting here in the group watching? I like to get to know the members of my group. So what is a compelling offer, and how is it different than what most holistic healers and hypnotists are? How's it different than what most people are doing out there? Like, this can go beyond healers, right? Now, I specialize in working with healers, but this is going to work for coaches. This is going to work for small business owners. This is going to work for if you're selling any kind of service-based product or service or program, right? We might call it a program. So here's why your offer needs to be compelling. And really it has, and you know, what I mean by irresistible is not like this excitement. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's not about getting your customer and client all revved up and excited, because a lot of that is actually manipulation. And actually, I had an incredible interview today with Jeff Kerchick, who is a leader out there in the sales world. He will be in the summit that is starting this June. So guys, guess what? Another summit's on the way. This is the Broadcast Your Brilliance Summit. How many of you excited about that? Go ahead and drop the word summit below if you're ready for this next summit. This will be the third one. And, you know, we're going to talk a lot about sales. And he said something really amazing, which was, and also Liz Wendeling, who's also another sales leader I have in the summit. They both talk about this thing called authenticity and trying to sell with authenticity. But oftentimes we think that being authentic is being something that's other than ourselves. And that's how we treat authenticity a lot of times. It's like, well, how do I become that? Well, guess what? If you're authentic, there's nothing to become. You just don't do anything. But this can be very hard for a lot of people to do because oftentimes we're so used to working harder that we think by being authentic, we have to work harder. Actually, by being authentic, there's nothing you have to do at all. But that's a really hard concept to wrap your head around for a lot of people. Like, you really have to sit with that. You may need to see a hypnotist for that. You may need to do some meditating on that, to really realize that just being authentic is just like being who you are by yourself, but on a sales or enrollment conversation. Okay? Which can be terrifying for a lot of people, right? You can even think about this in terms of dating, right? It can be so terrifying to show up completely the person you are when you're by yourself at home, to be that same person when you're out on a date for the first time. That can be terrifying to people. But that's where I would challenge you to ask yourself, why is that? Like, do you have something to hide? Like, what are you hiding? And it's typically because we have something to hide. And in the case of sales enrollment conversations, it's typically because we're not aiming for the right target. And so we feel like we have to perform. We feel like we have to stand on our hands and do tricks in order to close a premium or higher ticket paying customer and client. So how many of you resonated with some of what I just said? Drop it in the comments. Put me in the comments if something along the lines of what I said resonate with you. Like, you feel like you have to do tricks, party tricks. You got to impress them. You got to try to convince them. You gotta tie your package up with a nice bow, or else they're not gonna like it. And this is the absolute wrong way. I don't like the word wrong, but you're not going to attract the right people for you if you're trying to, impress and do a dance to try and get a sale. Okay. So how many of you resonated with what I just said? Drop me in the comments, especially for those of you who are already speaking with and talking to customers and clients. Okay. So why do you need a compelling offer? Well, first of all, so you're not having to do this dance, right? So you're not having to chase people down, chase customers down. You're not having to follow up with them. Like you all know the follow-up game, right? Like, hey, can I take time to think about it? Can I think about it and get back to you? Is a lot of time, these are all lies and just ways customers try to back out of conversations, right? So when your offer is not compelling enough, and it's not attractive enough, and it's not irresistible enough. And again, when I say irresistible, I don't mean they're all excited and they're like, oh my God, I have to have it. That's not what we're talking about here. I mean, like, you're giving your customer and client absolutely no reason to not move forward. That's what we mean that's what I mean by irresistible when I use that word. There's absolutely no reason to not move forward. There's nothing. You've obliterated all the objections, and it makes sense for your customer. There's no reason, and that's what I mean by irresistible. Okay, so why you need a compelling offer is so you can avoid these games, these I need to think about it, I can't afford it, all of this stuff. I said this in a previous video that, look, we don't live in a third world country. Most people can afford it. Okay, the question is do they feel safe with parting with their money? That's really the question. Are they in a place of wanting to part with their money? Right? That's the real question for most people. Okay. There are going to be those, once in a blue moon, you're going to talk to someone who can't pay their rent if they pay you, right? They are not your ideal customers. You could shoot them a different resource, but that's very rare. It's very rare. Okay. If your offer's not compelling enough and you don't obliterate all of the reasons to not buy, you end up looking like a commodity as well. And this for me was humiliating. Like, I did not want to look like everyone else. Like, I did not want to look like the next holistic healer or the next coach or the next hypnotist. And if you don't stand out, you end up looking like a commodity. You end up looking like, hey, look at me. I can balance 5 plates in one hand as well. Look at me. And do you want to be seen as that person who's going to jump through hoops to try and get this customer? Or do you want them to jump through hoops to come towards you? Okay. So for those of you tuning in, which I can't see right now. Okay, now I can see. What is resonating with you so far? Drop it in the comments. What's resonating with you so far of what I just said? Like, what piece resonates with you? Like, what are you realizing now that you didn't know before? Drop it in the chat and let us know. Let me know what's coming up for you. And that way I know a couple things, which is one, you're still alive. you guys are still alive there. And two, this is making sense with where you are in your business. So drop what's coming up for you in the chat. And and where you may need to shift. Okay? So you guys there, you guys there watching, right? What is resonating with you the most? Like, think about it. Are you doing tricks and dancing around, and are you not sticking out enough? Are you not different enough from the next healer or the next hypnotist? Right? Client comes to me jumping through hoops. Yeah. And one of those hoops is going to be the conversation itself. That is a hoop, right? Okay. So awesome. Thanks, Caroline. Nice to see you here. Maria, nice to see you here. And let's see who else we have here on the line here. So finally, the last reason why you want to shift and really, really start to research how to create an irresistible offer is so that they take you seriously. They take you seriously among everyone else out there. Yeah, Caroline, she says, I'm not different enough. Yeah, so Caroline, I would encourage you to really look at your story and look at where you've been and how because you are different, right? You're not a duplicate of everyone else out there who does what you do. I don't know what you do, but you can drop it in the chat what you specialize in. But you're not a duplicate of anyone else out there. So I would dig deep and look at your story and look at what you've overcome, and that's really what you specialize in. Okay, you're not the exact same as anyone else, and that's what's going to make you stand out. Okay, that's what's going to resonate with the right client for you. So if you want to be taken seriously, you want your time to be taken seriously, you want your value to be taken seriously, you have to not be a commodity. You have to stand out differently. And there's a lot of different ways to do this. And the Broadcast Your Brilliance Summit, we're going to talk about a lot of different ways to stand out among the competition, if you want to call it that. I don't consider competition because you can't compete with people who aren't you. It just doesn't make any sense. But the summit coming up in June, be on the lookout for that, because we're going to talk all about how to shift the way you're showing up, from everything, from the way you're speaking to your body language, to the way you're breathing, to your eye contact, to the words that you say, to the words that you shouldn't be saying. All of this stuff we're going to talk about. So it's really juicy stuff coming up. Okay. So, and finally, look, if your offer is not compelling enough, you will never be able to sell premium and higher ticket offers. And this is what I had to learn last year. When I wanted to increase my rates, I had to create something that was different than the next healer and hypnotist down the street. I had to make it obvious why I was the choice among Sarah or Joe down the street. You see that? And look, I can give you here, I'm going to give you examples of how I've done it, and also examples of how others have done it. But you got to dig deep and find out what makes you different. Why are you the obvious choice when it comes to healing anxiety, or making money, or increasing the effectiveness of your marketing, or overcoming, losing weight or getting healthy? Why are you the obvious choice for that customer? Okay. So in order to get to high ticket premium, I'm talking in order to sell packages and programs that are 6K and above, so 6,000 and above, you have to learn how to make your program more attractive than the next coach, healer, or small business owner, service provider. Okay, this step has to be taken. A lot of people try to skip it. But it doesn't work, okay? And it also doesn't have to be hard, all right? So I'm going to talk about the 7 things that have to be there. There are more than 7, but these were the 7 things that I had to flip these switches before I was considered premium, okay? So the first thing here, and are you guys ready for me to go into these 7 principles? Go ahead and drop the word ready in the comments if you're ready for me to roll into these 7 critical elements that you're going to need in order to be perceived as high value. So drop "I'm ready" in the comments. You guys still with me? You guys still there? Just want to make sure I'm not talking to myself. That's what these Transformation Tuesdays, it is Tuesday, right? Is it still Tuesday? Yes. Yep. So thank you, Caroline. Thank you for commenting, and Maria for commenting. And hopefully I'll hear from a few of you other beautiful people out there who are watching. So the first element here that you're going to need to implement so that you're perceived as high value is that you have to create a higher perceived value to your market. Okay? And I'm going to break this down because a lot of time we think that we know what our customer wants. Let me tell you what, if you have not yet started marketing your program, and I mean in any way, social media posts, Instagram lives, Facebook lives, running ads, if you are putting your product or service out there, if you have not done that yet, then you have no idea what your market wants. You have no idea. You do not know. You know what you want, and you might know what you want for your customer, but you have no idea what they want and what they need the most. And the only way to do that is to actually put your stuff out there and allow the feedback to come in. So that's how to get the perceived value from your market, is by asking them, what do they really need? I was talking to a client earlier today, and she told me she hired a coach, and then she got rid of this coach because she didn't get accountability. So what did that tell me? I had no idea. Like, I personally don't require accountability. I'm very good at holding myself accountable, but I forget that some of my clients need help with that. And so when I heard that, I said, oh, so if I offer like implementation and accountability coaching, that is going to be higher perceived value. You guys with me? Are things starting to click for you guys? So you will never know this till you start putting stuff out there. A lot of people think they can sit back and create the perfect offer right now, tonight, in 15 minutes. Let me just turn on some music, light some candles, and make a list. I wish that's how it worked, but it doesn't. You got to start taking imperfect action, start dropping out content, and ask. You can even survey. How many of you guys have an active Facebook group? Any of you guys here are running a Facebook group? Drop me in the comments. Any of you here actually drop group in the comments if any of you here have your own Facebook group, and are you dropping content into it? Drop the word group in the chat below and let me know if you guys are out there and you're doing the Facebook thing. You got a group going, you're dropping content, maybe you're not getting a lot of engagement. This could be one of the reasons. Okay, so perceived value, higher perceived value is going to come from your client's point of view, not yours. So listen to what they're saying. Accountability. They want check-ins. They want more trainings. They want more time with you, right? Can you see how you can create higher perceived value for your niche? Okay, but you're not going to know till you survey them, till you ask them, till you get some feedback. That's the first piece. Okay. Number 2 is your offer has to be easy to understand and straight to the point. And one of the biggest ways I see holistic healers shoot themselves in the foot on their sales calls is when they're not ready to talk about their offer. Are you guys here? Look, let's do an honesty poll here. Let's do an honesty poll. Let's call for complete self-honesty here. How many of you really feel 110% ready to confidently talk about your offer and how you can help someone and what you provide? Drop me in the comments, or not me in the comments. Can you honestly, are like, if somebody said yes to you right now, would you be ready to go with like, here's what's coming, boom, boom, boom? How many of you here actually are ready for that? I'm really curious where everyone here is. Say drop the word high ticket if you're ready for that. And if you need help with that, drop help in the chat. And that'll help me gauge where you guys are. So if you feel like, yeah, I can nail it the minute I get a yes, I'm ready to go. Or maybe you're like, oh geez, I actually, when it comes down to that moment, I kind of like, I get anxious, right? Okay. So your offer needs to be like, the way I think about it is speak in bullet points. Speak in bullet points. So when your customer's like, okay, all right, I'm ready to go. How can you help me? You're like, great. So here's what happens as soon as we get started. Do you guys hear like I'm ready for either one. I'm ready for no, I can't do it, and I'm ready for yes. Right? You want to be prepared for the yes. Oftentimes we get scared about getting a yes, right? How many of you have ever been afraid of actually getting a yes on a sales call? Maybe you're like, oh my God, what if they actually say yes to me? And they sign on and they pay me $6,000 or they pay me $10,000. Oh my gosh, now panic instills. I've been there before. How many of you guys have been there? Like this video if you know what I'm talking about, right? We're talking about brutal honesty here. Honesty with a capital H is what we're talking about here. So I remember these days being afraid of, oh my God, they actually said yes. Shit. Like fumbling around, like getting papers, trying to pull up browsers. You do not want to be in that place when you get a yes. Okay? You want to make it easy to understand, bullet points. Like, great. So here's what this includes. Right? We have 2 sessions a week. We have 2 sessions a month. We are connected this way. When you need help, you reach out that way. We're going to go over this. We're going to go. See, you can really just speak in bullet points. And that is just straight to the point. Okay? The next thing here, the number 3, what I have here is here's the switch you have to flip. Okay? And you have to see if it's even possible, first of all. Is the cost of staying where they are has to be greater than the cost of where they are going. So I'm going to break this down. The cost of not buying with you has to be greater than the cost of moving forward. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying here? Say yes in the comments if you guys understand what I'm saying here. You guys hear me, or do I need to say that again? Do I need to break that down? For instance, let's say, your customer is like suffering with panic attacks or something, weight loss. I got to lose weight. Let's use lose weight just because, who doesn't want to, right? A lot of people want to. Maybe you're a weight loss coach, or you help people with healing from emotional eating, or whatever your specialty is. The cost of them not signing with you, first of all, you have to find that out. So maybe it's self-esteem. Maybe it's like they'll hate themselves in the mirror every time they see themselves. Maybe their life is unfulfilled. Maybe they'll never have that dream romantic partnership. That cost has to outweigh what they're paying you. So it's like this, think of it like a teeter-totter. What do you call it? What do you guys call this? This playground teeter-totter? Is that the modern phrase for it? I think I used to call it something else. But when people first get on the phone with you, their money in their pocket is more valuable than what you have, right? It's like this. They're like, my money is more valuable than what you have because I don't know anything right now. Okay? When you're speaking, this is what should be happening. And if you're doing this correctly, it will happen. all of the pain points stack up. It's like, oh, now they're really realizing the cost of staying where they are. Oh my gosh, it's only going to get worse. I'm going to lose time. I'm not going to be able to play with my kids. I'm not going to be around, right? This is when this starts to happen. I'm sorry, this it's hard to do when I'm watching myself in opposite screen. But the cost of staying where they are has to outweigh the money coming out of their pocket. Okay? And you'll know when you've done this. You'll know when this point has happened, because it'll sound something like, okay, what do we got to do? Or okay, I'm ready to go. Or all right, so what's next? You'll hear something like that when you've reached that point. Okay? Until you've hit that point, you do not talk numbers. Okay? The next point here, next principle here, to start to be more irresistible, and again, we're not talking getting everybody amped up and excited. We're talking like a no-brainer. Like this becomes a no-brainer. Okay? Is that your offer has to be believable and credible. Believable and credible. So you might want to repeat your offer back to yourself and see if you believe it yourself. Have you gone through your own program? Right? Like, you can't offer to, like, I would never offer to someone, scale your business to six figures in 60 days. I would never say that. Because for someone who's been struggling for maybe 2 or 3 years, it's going to be like, what? No. Right? Unless you have a disclaimer, you can always give a disclaimer that says, hey, I'm launching a beta product. This is like a special offer. I'm just kind of testing something out. This is experimental. You can always do it like that. But really, is it believable? Is it believable? Your offer, right? Can you help someone eliminate their panic attacks in a week? No, nobody can do that, right? What is your specialty? What do you help clients achieve? And what is a realistic timeline for that? What do you guys do? Drop your specialty in the comments, and this will help me give me some context and help you give you some context around good timelines to give your clients. So what do you guys help your client with? Caroline, what do you help your client with? Maria, are you seeing clients right now? I can't remember. We talked so long ago. I can't remember if you're seeing clients right now. But drop what you do. What do you help clients achieve? And then how quickly can you get them results is really the question to ask yourself. Is it believable? And then the credible part is going to be about having testimonials, right? Testimonials, reviews, followers, anything like social proof is going to be credible, right? You get I have a few news segments, right? That's instant credit right there. Being on TV, or having a podcast or a blog, partnering with people. There's a lot of different ways to build credibility, and I urge you and encourage you to go out and do that. Is to build up testimonials, and I would urge you to do videos, and also share success stories. If you have a group of your own, you want to be sharing success stories. Okay. So the next here, number 6, is, and I've already talked about this a little bit, is you have to stand out. You have to stand out. In order to be perceived as high value, higher ticket, or if you want your offer to be seen as irresistible. Caroline says, a few clients help women over 50 escape the trap of dieting and live at their best weight. Yeah, so how quickly can you get someone confidence? Right? Maybe, you may want to think about swapping out the word best. Like, what is best? Like, that's kind of subjective, right? So maybe play with best weights, maybe try something else like ideal weights, or um, live at their healthiest, maybe become their healthiest versions of themselves. Just something like that. Because people don't like the word weight. People just don't like the word weight. If I read that, I'd be like, ugh, I don't want to think about my weight anymore. But if I saw the healthiest and happiest version of myself, I'd be like, yeah, that's right there. See that? So you might want to think about tossing that around. Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, perfect. Good. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but another way to make your offer even more compelling and irresistible from, Joe Schmo down the street, or from the next coach, or next healer, is you can offer bonuses and incentives and additional services. So I'm going to give you some examples of this. If you help someone with their health, right? Maybe you help them with intuitive eating, Caroline. Maybe you're like help them with intuitive eating or mindfulness, right? You could partner with a personal trainer and say and charge more for your package, right? But because they get so much off with a trainer, or a first a strategy call with a trainer is included in your program. So you can add additional services that are discounted because they're through you. My coach, my business coach, offers me additional services that I would typically have to go out of my way and pay extra for with like marketing. But because I go through her, she's networked like a special offer. Do you see how that's irresistible? Like, oh my God, I could get help with like my ads. I could get help with like my marketing. With one coach, I could get help with all of these things done. I don't have to go out of my way and hire 3 different people. Do you see how that can be super irresistible? See that? Or you can offer like a master class. Like I do quarterly trainings, or I do weekly trainings, and you're in on every single one of them. Or I do an in-person live event every year and you get a free ticket. Or you send them a gift, right? I love sending gifts to my private clients. It's one of my favorite things to do. It fills me up. They're always surprised. And it makes you stand out. It makes you show that you don't do the bare minimum. You want to be the person, the healer, the coach, or the hypnotist who doesn't do the bare minimum. You go out of your way. You send them like a welcome video, like a private welcome video. Send them a gift. You can even make your offer more irresistible by offering like a pay in full special. Like, look, I don't typically do this, but if you don't like the monthly installments, I'm happy to do pay in full and take off like a couple thousand, or take off 1,000. That to me is very irresistible. Like, oh wow, like I can save money by working with you right now. So you're coming up with ways to make your offer like not irresistible, but like a no-brainer. It's just a no-brainer. They can get more with you than with anybody else. Okay? And finally, the last thing here, and guys, let me know what's coming up for you. What ideas are coming up for you? How can you make your offer even more irresistible? What's coming up for you? Let's start generating ideas. Let's get some wheels turning and drop it in the chat. What are some ideas you can make your offer more irresistible? One quick way, one thing I mentioned to my clients is give your program a sexier name. Give it a sexier name, right? Like, you're not going to say a weight loss program, or it's my anxiety program. It's my, overcome your panic, or the narcissistic relationship. That's not attractive, right? But what if you could make it, just making your title specific to the outcome already creates higher perceived value, right? Like, for example, I specialize in binge eating. I help people with binge eating. That's one piece I specialize in, other than business and building and scaling businesses, is I used to work with a lot of binge eaters. And I had a special sexy name for my program, right? Like, it wasn't like I help people overcome binge eating. There's nothing exciting about that. But can you, like, name your program something specific? Be free now. Getting there, I like where it's going, Caroline. In what way? Like, I would ask you, in what way are they more free, and kind of tuck that in there somewhere. So are they free from be diet free? Like, live diet free? Like, that is more sexier, right? Live diet free forever. If you know, here's my live diet free forever. That, see how instantly that becomes more attractive to someone who's struggling with dieting and with diets and Atkins and all this kind of stuff, right? Or maybe you're a dating and a relationship coach, right? Like, my healthy relationship hack, or my healthy relationship hack ebook, right? Like, you can make your title more attractive and sexier, and instantly that gives it more value right there. Okay? So drop in the comments, and for those of you guys watching the replay, what are some ways you can start to add more value and make your offer like a no-brainer, and drop it in the comments. And finally, here's the last piece I'm going to tell you is one you want to use very delicately and very honestly. You do not want to do this from a manipulative standpoint, because it will backfire. It always will backfire if you do this. So the last thing is to create a sense of urgency. Okay? Creating a sense of urgency. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I don't mean that you sneak into your call like, okay, you have to say yes today or else. I'm not talking about like backing people into a corner. That's not the intention with this. Okay? The intention is to raise value in their eyes. The intention isn't to pressure. If your intention is to pressure, do not drop this. Do not create a sense of urgency if your intention is to pressure. If your intention is to create more perceived value, then using a time urgency is a great thing to do. So for instance, if I run a summit quarterly. I run a summit, 2 or 3 summits a year. And I have a special VIP offer, right? And my VIP offer usually ends somewhere near towards the event. And of course, I have to end the VIP offer at some point. I can't let it extend past the summit or past the deadline, because it doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't serve my community to upgrade after the event's over. It doesn't serve them. So you want to give them a little nudge to say, hey guys, this offer ends on this date, because if you don't upgrade, then you're going to miss out on these things, right? You're saying from my customer's perspective, here's what you're going to miss, versus you better close today. You better say yes, right? Like, do you see the intentions different there? So I highly recommend using time to create a sense of urgency. I highly recommend this, but it has to be done very tactful. Tactful, is that the word? It has to be done very delicately and from the right place, okay? With good intentions, with your intentions and also your customer's best intentions at heart, okay? And they will feel that. They will feel that, like, look, here's an example of how I've done it on a sales call, okay? So I've worked with clients who literally, like, I want to move forward, but I don't know how I can afford this now. Like, I don't know, like, I get paid in 2 weeks. Okay. Have you ever been there? That's a great place to kind of kick on the urgency, kick on the limited time offer, but you're not doing it to back them into a corner. You're doing it to give them the value that they're looking for, but they still have to honor your time. Do you see that? They still have to honor your offer, the offer itself, and then your time. And so when I've been on calls and, it's like, I want to do this. I can't make it work now. Like, I get paid in 2 weeks. Awesome. So look, you can even use this, what I'm saying here right now, right? Like, look, I don't typically do this, but I feel like you really do want this. And because of that, what I'll do is I'll give you, we'll schedule on this date, we'll follow up on this date. And if you are really serious about this and moving forward, I'm happy to extend this offer to you in 2 weeks. You see that? It's a very soft way of creating urgency, but you're showing you're like flexing, right? You're flexing to meet your customer where they are. Okay, so you want to create a soft sense of urgency. Another way to do this is like when you're qualifying them, you could say, so, let's say you're talking to a customer and they're struggling with anxiety and they're struggling with, I don't know, toxic relationships. And they're in a toxic relationship, dealing with a lot of stress. You can create urgency simply by asking, well, how much longer do you really want to deal with this? Like, how much longer do you want to stay here? And that's going to kick on the urgency. Okay. But again, you have to be doing this from from having their intentions, their best intentions at heart, and not just yours. Okay. Because if you try to do this in a manipulative way, you're gonna get people hanging up on you. You're losing my voice. You're gonna get people angry. You're gonna get people into a place where you do not want to close them. You do not want to close people who are like panicked. You do not want to close people who are panicked. You do not want to do that. That will backfire a lot. Okay, and you do not want to be manipulative. Okay. And if you are struggling with how to move people through an enrollment call who, so that they're not in this place, but they're honestly ready to go with you. They're calm. They're ready to move forward. They're ready to pull out their credit card. If you want more help with this or you need more help with your offer, this is what I do. This is what I help holistic healers with, is creating a compelling offer so you can increase your prices. Okay. And I'm talking 6K and above. Not just increase your prices to 1,000 or 1,500. Like, let's skyrocket that shit, right? And get you in alignment with the right people and coming from the right place, okay? So if you want more help with your offer or with your sales calls, enrollment calls, then drop the word help me in the chat and I'll follow up with you in the next 24 to 48 hours. Sometime tonight or tomorrow. We'll see if what I have is a good fit for you. And if not, I'll send you to another resource that might be a better fit for you. Or if you got value out of this video, drop the word value in the chat. Let me know you got value out of this. Let me know this is resonating with you, that I'm talking to the right people, that this is helping you. And again, if you're looking for more one-on-one help and you really want to start banging out these sales calls, and you're tired of getting ghosted, you're tired of the games, you're tired of, I have to think about it. It's because there's something off about you. There's something off about you. You are responsible for getting your customer to where they need to be so they feel good enough to move forward. If you don't know how to do that, then I'm excited. I'd be happy to check in with you first and see if I can in fact help you. So if you got value out of this, drop value below. If you need help with your offer or sales enrollment, you need to make it more irresistible. You need to somehow raise the value in your customer's eyes, maybe on your sales call. Drop help me below. And fun video. This is a fun topic. And this is something I spent a couple years really learning on my own. I'm sorry, not on my own. I had to get a coach. So look, I had to get a coach help me with this. You're not going to learn this on your own. You're not going to learn this on your own. Okay. You're going to need someone who's done it. Okay. So awesome, guys. Seeing you today, Caroline, Maria, for those of you who stayed hidden in the background there that I didn't have a chance to say hi to. Hopefully we'll see you in the group or see you on the next live stream. The replay will sit in this group. Let me know your comments below. Like, as you guys watch the replay, love to hear from what's going on. Drop your questions below in the chat and I'll see you guys in the group. Bye-bye now.